You live in a rich country, a place where innovation thrives, opportunities abound. The average person has access to more goods and services than ever before. From the outside, it looks like a land of plenty, where dreams are within reach. So why does it feel like you're constantly trying to keep up? Why does it feel like you're always just one step behind? No matter how hard you run, how much you achieve, or how many hours you put in. It's a nagging feeling, a whisper that tells you you're not doing enough. There's more opportunity than ever. From online courses that can teach you any skill, global markets accessible from your living room, countless career paths that didn't exist a decade ago. The world is truly at your fingertips. More access. Information is abundant, education is more widespread, and even luxury items that were once exclusive are now mass-produced and seemingly within reach. Think about the latest smartphone, a designer handbag, or a vacation to an exotic locale. They're advertised everywhere, making them feel like standard expectations. More convenience. Food delivered to your door with a tap, instant communication across continents, smart devices managing your home's climate and security. Life is designed to be easier, to free up your time and reduce your burdens. So you should feel more secure, more comfortable, more at ease with your place in the world, enjoying the fruits of this advanced society. But you don't. Instead, there's a gnawing sense of anxiety, a feeling you're perpetually falling short. Despite all these advancements, true peace of mind remains elusive. You might have more, but you feel less. You earn. You work hard, perhaps even taking on extra shifts, a demanding side hustle, or striving relentlessly for that next promotion, believing it will finally bring stability. You might be a teacher working evenings, a nurse picking up extra shifts, or a young professional burning the midnight oil. You spend. On rent that keeps climbing year after year, groceries that seem to cost more each week, for the same basket of goods, and the occasional treat that feels less like a luxury and more like a necessity to cope with the stress of it all. You manage. You budget meticulously. You cut back on non-essentials. You try to be smart with your money, perhaps even delaying major life milestones like buying a home, starting a family, or saving for your children's education. You might skip vacations, drive an older car, or cook every meal at home, and still, it feels tight. The numbers in your bank account never quite seem to grow, or if they do, they're quickly eaten away by unexpected expenses, rising interest rates, or the relentless march of inflation. Like no matter what you do, it's just enough to stay in place. You're running on a treadmill, expending immense energy, making significant sacrifices, only to find yourself in the exact same spot, perhaps even falling behind. It feels like a personal problem. You might blame yourself, thinking you're not working hard enough, not smart enough with your money, not disciplined enough, or that you simply lack the grit to succeed. You scroll through social media, seeing others seemingly thrive, and wonder what you're doing wrong. But it's not just you. Millions of people in affluent societies across the globe share this exact sentiment, this quiet struggle behind closed doors. It's a collective experience, a systemic challenge, not an individual failing. You do what you're supposed to do. You followed the advice given by parents, teachers, and society. Get a good education, find a stable job, save for retirement, invest wisely. You checked all the boxes. Work. You put in your 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week, dedicating your prime years to your career. You show up, you perform, you contribute. Earn. You see your paycheck, perhaps even a decent one by historical standards, one that would have afforded a comfortable life for your parents or grandparents. Try to save. You diligently set aside a portion, or at least you try to, after all the bills are paid, after the rising cost of living has taken its bite. You might have an emergency fund, a small investment, but it feels precarious. And still think, why does this feel harder than it should be? Why does the dream of financial freedom, of a comfortable retirement, or even just a stress-free month seem to recede further with every step forward? Why does the effort required seem disproportionate to the reward? Because a country being rich doesn't mean life feels easy. The aggregate wealth of a nation, its GDP, its technological prowess, doesn't automatically translate to individual comfort, security, or ease of living. It's a complex ecosystem. As systems grow, costs rise. The price of housing in desirable areas becomes astronomical. Education requires taking on significant debt. Healthcare costs are a constant worry, and even basic goods like fresh produce or utilities inflate, often outpacing wage growth. What was once affordable becomes a luxury, and what was a luxury becomes unattainable. For example, a starter home that cost 2 years' salary for your grandparents might now cost 10 years' salary for you. Competition rises for good jobs, for affordable housing, for spots in top schools, for even basic services. You're not just competing with your neighbors, but with a global talent pool. Expectations rise. Social media constantly showcases aspirational lifestyles, perfect homes, exotic vacations, designer clothes, gourmet meals, creating an immense pressure to consume, to experience, to keep up with an ever-moving target of what success looks like. The Joneses are no longer just next door, they're on your phone, 24/7. So, even if everything improves on a macro level, the economy grows, technology advances, society becomes more efficient, your personal experience doesn't feel lighter. In fact, it often feels heavier, burdened by the invisible weight of these rising standards and the relentless pressure to keep pace. As economist Adam Smith, known for explaining how nations build wealth through the division of labor and free markets, said, "The real wealth of a nation lies in the productivity of its people." But productivity doesn't guarantee comfort. A highly productive society can still leave its individuals feeling stressed, insecure, and perpetually behind if the fruits of that productivity are unevenly distributed, if the cost of living outpaces wage growth, or if societal expectations create an unsustainable treadmill. You might be producing more than ever, but feeling less secure. The more developed a system becomes, the higher the baseline becomes. What was once considered a luxury or a significant achievement, like owning a car, having a personal computer, or taking an annual international vacation, becomes the new normal. These aren't seen as extras anymore, but as fundamental components of a decent life. What used to feel like progress becomes normal. Getting a college degree, buying a starter home, having a stable job with benefits, these were once clear markers of upward mobility and success. Now they're often seen as the minimum entry requirements for a decent life, and even these are becoming harder to attain. For many, simply maintaining the status quo feels like a constant battle, and normal doesn't feel like enough. Because the normal of today is far more expensive, more demanding, and more complex than the normal of yesterday. Yet the feeling of striving, of needing more, remains. The goalposts keep moving, and what was once a finish line is now just another checkpoint. If this feels familiar, if you've nodded along to these points, if you recognize this struggle in your own life or the lives of those around you, subscribe to Daily Reset Lab for more perspective like this. We delve into the hidden dynamics shaping our lives, offering insights and strategies to navigate this complex world. So the issue isn't just income. It's not solely about how much you earn or how diligently you save, but about the broader context in which you earn and live. It's about the economic and social structures that define our reality. It's that normal keeps getting more expensive. The cost of maintaining a perceived normal life, a decent home in a safe neighborhood, reliable transportation, access to good food and health care, the ability to raise a family, and even basic leisure activities, is constantly escalating, making it harder to achieve and sustain without immense effort and sacrifice. The shift is not to chase what's next. It's not about constantly striving for the next promotion. The bigger house, the latest gadget, or the most Instagrammable experience, hoping that one more acquisition will finally bring peace, contentment, or a feeling of enough. That chase is a never-ending cycle. It's to notice you're measuring your life against a moving standard, a standard that is externally defined, constantly pushed higher by advertising, social media, and societal pressures, and perpetually out of reach. It's a standard designed to keep you in a state of perpetual pursuit, always wanting more, always feeling a deficit. Define one version of enough based on your reality, not what you constantly see around you. This means consciously choosing your metrics for success, perhaps prioritizing time with loved ones, personal growth, health, or meaningful contributions over purely material accumulation. It's about setting your own finish line, creating your own definition of a rich life, rather than letting society dictate it. It might mean opting out of certain trends, embracing minimalism, or finding joy in simpler pleasures. Living in a rich country doesn't mean feeling rich. The feeling of richness is subjective and often tied to comparison, not absolute wealth or material possessions. You can have a lot and still feel poor if you're constantly comparing yourself to those who have more, because that feeling depends on what you compare against. If you're constantly comparing your life to an idealized, ever-advancing standard, to the curated highlight reels of others, or to the unattainable benchmarks set by a consumerist society, you will always feel like you're lacking, regardless of your actual circumstances. If the standard keeps rising, you won't feel stable. You'll be caught in an endless cycle of striving, never quite reaching a point of contentment, always feeling the ground shifting beneath your feet. You'll just feel like you're always catching up. And that, in a rich country, is the silent, exhausting struggle many face, a paradox of prosperity that demands a new perspective. Follow Daily Reset Lab for daily perspective. Join our community as we explore these ideas and more, helping you reset your mindset, redefine your success, and find stability in a constantly evolving world.